How would you model 2 divided by 0.3? We start off with a number line that goes from 0 to 2. I put in the landmarks of 0.5 and 1.5, and I put in all the little notches for each tenth along the number line. So now we look for each 0.3 increment. So we go 1, 2, well, there's 0.3. Now we go 0.3 again, and 0.3 again, and keep going in 0.3 increments. And we end up with some left over because we can't do another 0.3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 0.3 increments. And then we're trying to make sets of 3 notches. We've only got 2, so we end up with 2 out of 3 left over. And that's our answer. 2 divided by 0.3 is 6 2/3. 124 divided by something is about 300. What decimal number belongs in the blank? Remember, 10 divided by 2 equals 5, therefore 10 divided by 5 equals 2. Using that rule, if 124 divided by something is equal to 300, then 124 divided by 300 is equal to that something. So we need to do that as long division. 124 divided by 300. Obviously, there are no 300s that fit into 124, so we add some decimals. Now 3 goes into 1,240 4 times. Get 1,200. Subtracting 1,200 from 1,240 gives us 40. We bring down another 0. 300 goes into 400 one time. Subtracting that, we end up with 100. Bring down another 0. 300 goes into 1,000 3 times, which is 900. Subtracting, get 100. Bring down another 0. And we see that we're going to now just keep repeating this process. So we've got 413 with the 3 repeating. Putting the decimal place right up above, we can then say that 124 divided by 0.413 repeating is equal to 300. What number belongs in the blank? 500 divided by 0.6. There are a few ways you could do this, but you can always go back to long division. 500 divided by 0.6. We don't want to leave a decimal place there, so we've moved the decimal from here over to here. If we've moved it 1 decimal place, that means we have to add 1 0. If we'd moved it 2 decimal places, we'd move it 2. But now we can just do the long division. 6 times 8 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2, bringing down a 0. 6 into 20 is 3. 3 6s are 18. Subtracting that, we end up with 2. Bring down the 0. 3 6s are 18 again. Subtracting 2 remainder. So we can see that we're going to keep going here, and we're going to have a repeating 3 again. So 500 divided by 0.6 will equal 833.3 repeating. This time we're looking at estimates. Estimates often involve rounding up numbers or rounding down numbers, taking them to numbers that come close to something easy to calculate in our heads. So in this case, we've got 44 divided by 0.7. When I see 44 and 0.7, I think, well, 44 is close to 49. And if 49, so I'm going to change my question that I'm working on to 49 divided by 0.7. And I remember now that I don't want to deal with a decimal in the number I'm dividing by, so I'm going to change it to be 490 divided by 7, because I know that I'm going to get the same answer either way. So now the question is, what number times 7 is equal to 490? Well, I know that 7 times 7 is 49, so 7 times 70 will be 490. So my estimate here would be 70. And then I have to think about, well, is it going to be bigger or smaller than that? Because I increased the number that I was working with here, instead of 44, I was working with 49, my 70 estimate is probably going to be high, so it's going to be less than 70. I don't know exactly how much, but the 70 gives me a ballpark. I have some sense of what the number should be. Now let's look at 350 divided by 0.8. To simplify it, again, I'm going to work in I want to change it to whole numbers. So if I'm going to move the decimal place here, so I've got an 8 instead of a 0.8, that means I have to add another 0 to the other number. So we've got 3,500 divided by 8. So those two equations are exactly the same now. 350 divided by 0.8 is the same as 3,500 divided by 8. So what number times 8 is going to get me to 3,500? Well, I remember that 8 times 4 is equal to 32. So that means 8 times 40 is equal to 320. 8 times 400 is equal to 3,200. I can make the same connection that 8 times 500 is going to be equal to 4,000. The number that I'm trying to end up with is kind of in the middle of those, but it's definitely closer to the 3,200 side of things. So if I was going to estimate, I want something that is closer to 400 than it is to 500. So I might estimate that to be 420. I know it's got to be bigger than 400, less than 500. I don't know exactly how much, but it's a reasonable estimate. If I do it on the calculator, I've got 350 divided by 0.8, and I get 437. So my estimate of 420 is not too bad.